When I think about sexual violence and how it impacts Black homes and Black communities, it's sex and sexuality are incredibly intimate aspects of who we are as human beings. It's something critical to our humanity. And it's also, I think, a very kind of revealing area of our lives when it comes to our histories of violence in this country, in America.
The fact that 3/4 of the women who are in prison are survivors of domestic abuse, and that more than 80% of them have experienced some form of sexual abuse, usually in childhood.
So I think it impacts families indirectly indirectly and directly because of the conversations that aren't had and the types of healing that can't happen until you're in a space where you can step into that truth and step into what happened to you and say, like, I am not my trauma, right? And that's really hard. It takes people a long time. But I also think that it impacts families, especially when the perpetrator is in the family or the perpetrator is family.
We're expected to keep it quiet and not police or incarcerate our family members. Often, when sexual violence happens in a home, it happens by the hands of the person in power who also provides income for the family and or provides the legal status that the family needs to stay whole or to stay in this country. And then incarcerating that person would really have drastic effects on the family. So it's a tremendous trauma and burden and something that is silenced in the Black families and home.
Because of the history of sexual violence and because of Afro-descendant girls who grow up in households where their own mothers don't even talk about it, creates even more of a struggle of us finding a safe space to explore our sexuality, especially when we're entering puberty.
And I thought about the idea that from early as 4, we're taught to protect ourselves from sexual violence all the time. Girls are. I don't think that this conversation happens with boys, but we're taught to protect ourselves. It's like, don't sit on men's laps, close your legs. Don't wear that, don't show your panties, all these things. We end up being taught, that we have to protect ourselves from this kind of imminent violence. It's weird because I feel like since girls end up really being the only ones taught to protect themselves from the violence, I feel like there ends up not being any accountability kind of on the other side. And so we end up, blaming ourselves to some degree for the violence or thinking that we are the cause of the violence or maybe just accepting it.